In the dead of a January 2022 blizzard, a chilling mystery unfolded on a quiet Canton, Massachusetts street, where the lifeless body of Boston police officer John O'Keefe was found in a snowbank, his death shrouded in secrets. At the center stands Karen Reed, a 45-year-old financial analyst turned murder suspect, accused of running down her boyfriend in a drunken rage and leaving him to freeze. As her second trial grips the nation in April 2025, whispers of a police cover-up, a tainted investigation, and a fateful night at 34 Fairview Road fuel a suspenseful saga. Did Reed commit a cold-blooded crime? Or is she a pawn in a sinister conspiracy? The truth lies buried in the snow, waiting to be uncovered. Born and raised in Canton, Massachusetts, Karen Reed was known for her intellect and ambition from a young age. A graduate of Bentley University with a master's degree in finance, she forged a successful career as a financial analyst, later taking on a role as an adjunct professor at her alma mater. Colleagues described her as sharp, charismatic, and deeply connected to Boston's Irish-American community, a cultural tie that shaped her social life. Her involvement in this tight-knit circle would later prove pivotal, as it introduced her to O'Keefe and placed her within a network of law enforcement figures whose loyalties would come under scrutiny. With no prior criminal record, Reed's transformation from a respected professional to a murder suspect shocked those who knew her, setting the stage for questions about how her life took such a drastic turn. This question brings us to John O'Keefe, the man whose death lies at the heart of the case. A 16-year veteran of the Boston Police Department, O'Keefe was a beloved figure in his hometown of Braintree, Massachusetts. Known for his compassion and dedication, he stepped up to raise his late sister's 2 children, a niece and nephew, while caring for his aging parents. Friends described him as loyal and selfless, the kind of person who'd drop everything to help a friend. His role as a police officer also embedded him in Canton's law enforcement community, a network that would later face accusations of protecting its own. O'Keefe's life and death are inseparable from the case's emotional weight, particularly for his family, whose grief, voiced powerfully by his mother, Peggy, has resonated throughout the trial, linking his personal story to the broader drama. Reed and O'Keefe's paths crossed in the summer of 2020, their romance kindled by mutual friends and a shared Irish heritage. They quickly became a fixture in Boston's social scene, frequenting bars and community events, their chemistry evident to those around them. But beneath the surface, their 2-year relationship was marked by strains. Prosecutors later revealed text messages showing frequent arguments, often centered on O'Keefe's responsibilities to his niece and nephew. In one exchange, Reed expressed frustration, calling O'Keefe a loser, while he responded with exhaustion, texting, "I'm not a babysitter." These tensions, prosecutors argue, built toward a breaking point. But the defense counters that they were typical couple dynamics, not a prelude to murder. Their volatile relationship sets the stage for the fateful night of January 29, 2022, when a blizzard in Canton would change everything. That night, Reed and O'Keefe went bar hopping at the Waterfall Bar and Grill and C.F. McCarthy's, popular Canton haunts. Witnesses, including bartender Kara Hartley, testified that the couple consumed multiple drinks. Reed favored vodka sodas, O'Keefe stuck to beers, and while they appeared jovial, subtle signs of tension surfaced. Around midnight, they were invited to a house party at 34 Fairview Road, hosted by Brian and Nicole Albert, attended by a mix of friends and law enforcement figures, including ATF agent Brian Higgins. What transpired next remains fiercely contested, but it would end with O'Keefe's death and Reed's life unraveling. The prosecution claims an argument at the Albert home pushed Reed to the deadly act, while the defense insists the real crime occurred inside, far from Reed's involvement, tying the night's events to a web of alleged deceit. Prosecutors allege that around 12:30 a.m., Reed, intoxicated with a blood alcohol level estimated at 0.09 to 0.13, above Massachusetts' legal limit of 0.08, climbed into her black Lexus SUV and reversed at 24.2 miles per hour for 62 feet, striking O'Keefe as he stood outside the Albert home. They claim the impact caused severe injuries, including skull fractures and abrasions, leaving him unconscious in a snowbank during the blizzard, where he succumbed to hypothermia. Reed, they say, drove away, only returning around 6 a.m. with Carrie Roberts and Jennifer McCabe after calling them in a panic, claiming she couldn't find O'Keefe. Paramedics found O'Keefe unresponsive, his body temperature at 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and he was pronounced dead at Good Samaritan Medical Center. This narrative of a drunken, impulsive act hinges on evidence that prosecutors believe seals Reed's guilt, but the defense sees as a carefully constructed frame job, connecting the crime scene to a broader conspiracy. The prosecution's case is built on a foundation of physical evidence, Reed's statements, and her behavior, each piece linking back to that snowy night. They emphasize Reed's words to first responders, like "I hit him," and to Peggy O'Keefe, "I left him there." In a 2022 Dateline interview, Reed speculated she might have clipped or tapped O'Keefe, which prosecutors call a veiled admission. A damaged right tail light on her SUV, with plastic fragments found near O'Keefe's body, aligns with GPS data showing a 3-point turn consistent with high-speed reversing. Text messages reveal a heated exchange with O'Keefe hours before his death, and flirty texts with Brian Higgins suggest a motive tied to jealousy or a desire to end the relationship. A broken cocktail glass under O'Keefe's body matches drinks from C.F. McCarthy's, and Reed's hair and O'Keefe's DNA on the SUV bumper bolster the collision theory. First responders described Reed as frantic and shelling of alcohol, supporting the DUI charge. This evidence, prosecutors argue, forms an unbroken chain of guilt, but the defense sees cracks in every link, pointing to a different story altogether. Challenging this narrative, Reed's defense team, Alan Jackson, David Unetti, and Victoria George, a former juror from the first trial, argues O'Keefe was beaten inside the Albert home, possibly in a fight involving guests like Brian Albert or Brian Higgins, and Reed was framed to protect powerful figures. They claim O'Keefe's injuries, scratches, abrasions, and skull fractures suggest a brawl, not a car crash, with independent experts, including a biomechanical engineer, disputing the SUV impact theory. The investigation, they argue, was compromised from the start, led by Michael Proctor, a state trooper fired in 2024 for sending derogatory texts about Reed, calling her a whack job and joking about her guilt. A Google search by Jennifer McCabe at 2:27 a.m. for "How long to die in cold," hours before O'Keefe's body was found, raises suspicions of foreknowledge, though McCabe insists it was later, at Reed's request. The defense questions the taillight fragment's authenticity, noting minimal damage to the SUV's bumper, and challenges the DNA evidence's chain of custody. They've also highlighted connections between the Alberts, Higgins, and law enforcement, suggesting a conspiracy to shield insiders, tying the investigation's flaws to the prosecution's case. These dueling narratives collided in the first trial, which ran from April to June 2024 in Norfolk Superior Court, drawing massive attention. Supporters chanting "Free Karen Reed" gathered outside, and live streams on very local and CBS Boston attracted thousands of viewers. The jury deadlocked, leading Judge Beverly Canone to declare a mistrial on July 1, 2024. Jurors later revealed they unanimously acquitted Reed on second-degree murder and leaving the scene but split on manslaughter, with some believing she might have accidentally hit O'Keefe. Reed's legal team appealed, arguing double jeopardy, but the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court and U.S. Supreme Court rejected their claims, paving the way for the retrial. The defense's bold move to hire Victoria George and the prosecution's reliance on emotional testimony, like Peggy O'Keefe's account of Reed's erratic hospital behavior, keep the case dynamic, linking past arguments to the current courtroom battles. The retrial, now unfolding in April 2025, has escalated the drama, with witnesses like Carrie Roberts, who found O'Keefe's body, facing intense cross-examination over timeline inconsistencies. A 200-foot buffer zone around the courthouse and a gag order on Red's attorneys haven't quieted the public, with ex-users like @CrediSinnocent proclaiming her innocence and @The Young Jerks emphasizing the first trial's not guilty votes. The case's cultural impact is profound, spawning a documentary, A Body in the Snow, The Trial of Karen Reed, on Investigation Discovery, and fueling podcasts like The Young Jerks. It taps into broader themes of distrust in law enforcement, the reliability of forensic evidence, and social media's role in shaping narratives, with Reed cast as either a wronged woman or a guilty party. This public fervor flows directly into the trial stakes, as the jury's decision will reverberate far beyond Canton. As the retrial progresses, with witnesses like Jennifer McCabe and Brian Higgins still to testify, the jury faces a daunting task, navigating conflicting expert testimony, questionable police conduct, and raw emotion. The prosecution must prove Reed's SUV caused O'Keefe's death, while the defense aims to unravel the investigation's flaws. A conviction on second-degree murder could mean life in prison for Reed, while an acquittal would validate her claims and spark scrutiny of Canton's police. For O'Keefe's family, it's about justice for a beloved son and brother, whose loss continues to echo through the courtroom. The verdict, expected in the coming weeks, will tie together the threads of a case that began with a snowy night, a strange romance, and a death that has divided a community. Please like and subscribe. See you next time on Morbid Curiosity.